These are 3 frequencies that are killing your vocal mixes. And before you think that you should just find out what these are and cut them out entirely, it's not that easy. You see, these frequencies matter a lot. They are 2 sides of the same coin. Too much of it, things go haywire. Too little of it, and vocals sound really awkward. The point of this video is that if you don't nail these frequencies and get them right, your vocal mixes might as well be dead. So what are these? First is the fundamental. If you're not sure what the fundamental is, it's really simple. It's the lowest periodic frequency in your vocal. And it will change depending on the note, because as you can see here, 200 hertz and 100 hertz are an octave apart. They're actual notes on a keyboard. And so each frequency is representative of a note, or actually in between notes as well. So we need to pay attention to where our fundamental is. Where's our fundamental in this vocal? Well, let's take a look.
I'm all alone and tonight I'm home, baby. We're on the phone, but won't you come on over, maybe?
So right around the 150, 160 mark here is where our fundamental is. Too much of this and things will sound really muddy. And so what beginner mixing engineers and producers will typically do is they'll take this and they'll try to attenuate this, or even worse, cut the low frequency out entirely. But here's the reality of it all. If your vocal mixes sound thin, it's because of a thing called the proximity effect, where you may be too far away from your microphone. You can simulate this problem with EQ, which is absolutely insane, because people will cut this frequency and then it sounds like your vocals are far away. This is one of the most common mistakes I see all the time. So take a listen to how my vocals sound when I'm up close versus when I'm further away. The further away I get from my microphone, the less low end you actually hear. And then when I'm really close, there's a lot of low end that is being built up underneath my voice. And so getting close to your microphone and recording it properly there, really making sure that you're paying attention to how close you are, is the first step. The second step is making sure that you actually don't cut this frequency, because if you cut this, it sounds thin and sounds like it's far away. I can't tell you how many times I see people grab a low cut and then just cut up at 200 hertz. Well, you just cut out that fundamental entirely, and now your vocals sound thin and they also sound far away because of that proximity effect that's going on. So let's take a look at what this actually sounds like when I bring this up and down. And notice how it starts to sound muddy and a little bit messy when I boost it, but when I cut it, it sounds really thin and far away.
I'm all alone and tonight I'm home, baby. We're on the phone, but won't you come on over, maybe? The way you look tonight, oh honey, don't go crazy, because it's only gonna...
Now, the second frequency is what I call the harsh zone, and that is anywhere between 3 to 6K. 3 to 6K is really common for just about anything to sound really harsh, specifically that 4K on electric guitars, vocals, and a lot of things sound really aggressive and just nasty. That's why a lot of de-essers will tame around that 6K area. Listen to what this sounds like when I boost it.
We gonna be you and me, baby.
It sounds pretty harsh. So if I boost it,
I want you
it almost sounds a bit whistly. Now, if I go and cut this, it sounds really awkward and kind of thin.
right here by my side. I'm all alone and tonight I'm home, baby. We're on the phone, but won't you come on over, maybe?
So once again, this is one of those things where you need to listen and pay attention to this frequency. It's not the fact that you need to cut this or boost this just yet. You need to understand how this is playing in your vocals. And once again, that 3 to 6K, there's a full octave there. So play around with that. See what sounds best for you. But that is a typical range where harshness is usually found. And it can kill a vocal mix if you're not careful. Now, before I get on to the third frequency, building a vocal chain is extremely important. If you don't do this right, it doesn't really matter what EQ you have afterwards if you don't have the proper compression, or you don't have anything set up properly with your reverbs and delays, or even if you're using the wrong reverbs and delays, it can make a big mess. And that's why I built the plugin chain generator. This is a free tool that I built where it allows you to select your DAW. So I'll select Studio One. You can select your source. I'll select vocals, and then you just describe your desired sound. So I say, give me a modern pop vocal chain, and then we click on generate chain. And within a few seconds, it generates a plugin chain based off of the DAW DAW you selected, and also gives you some recommendations for some paid plugins as well. Gives you step-by-step instructions, the order of which each should go, and even gets into the very specifics on set the drive very low to around 1 to 5%, or create some vocal reverbs around 1.5 to 2.5 seconds. It's completely free. Links to that will be down in the description below, or you can just scan this QR code here. Now, finally, the last frequency is around 10,000 hertz, and this is what I call brittle town. Things sound super brittle up here at around 10,000 hertz. If it's too much or too aggressive, it'll sound super brittle, and if it's not there at all, it'll start to sound really dull. So let me give you an example of what this looks like.
I'm all alone and tonight I'm home, baby. We're on the phone, but won't you come on over, maybe? The way you look tonight, oh honey, don't go crazy, because it's only gonna
This is
be
one of my favorite areas to actually boost because it can bring a bit of top end out of a vocal, especially if you're recording with a dynamic microphone, which typically doesn't have a whole lot of harshness on the top end. Being able to boost a little bit of that 10K can be helpful. But once again, remember, there's two sides to this coin, just like the other frequencies. Too much can really break things, and not enough will make things sound super awkward. If you enjoyed this video, you're gonna love this video here. In this video, I break down a few mixing tricks that the pros use, but don't really talk about too often. I'll see you there. Now, as always, go create.